Good afternoon, everybody. It is just a little bit after 12, and I wanted to tell you about my stitching this morning. I was working on my bingo with my group from Alabama, and my bingo call for today is small gift, and I had to stitch 100 stitches in it. But I'm also participating in the monthly challenge in my Daily 30 group, constructing ugly sweaters. So I decided to keep stitching once I posted in my bingo group until I had at least 200 stitches so that I could count one of these items on my Christmas sweaters. So I was able to finish up the baby deer and start on the green tree behind the deer. So I got 238 stitches total in it today, and it was all right in here, but I love it. It's so cute. The light is so bright it's washing out on you, but these are pale green leaves, and then there's a red bow in its hair. Really, really cute. So I got that done, and the item I'm using for my ugly sweater is reindeer. It has to be a different item for all 15 items that you stitch for, 200 stitches each. So there you have it, my small gift stitching for today, and I'm excited to have my bingo call met, and also my one of my items for my ugly sweater. So the next thing that I plan on starting is my WIPGO call, my final WIPGO call for 2023. And it's this Jeanette Douglas Sew Together series. I've been doing 6 of them, and this is the final one. So I've pulled it out today, and I'm about to work on my conversion to use the colors that I want to use to go with the rest of it. And as soon as I get that completed, I'm going to start this today. My WIPGO goal is 5 hours. I may not get all 5 hours today, but I'll get some, and that'll be a good start at the first of the month here instead of waiting until the very, very end of it. In case you're wondering, yes, I have started wearing Christmas earrings already. These are some beautiful green bells, and I have a whole beautiful watch that matches it, but the battery needs replacing, so I didn't wear that today. But anyway, I'm gonna start working on this conversion and see where it leads me, and then start stitching on it today, and hopefully before the end of the day I can come back and at least show you my progress. So I hope you've had a good start to your week. I have already heard from one of the ladies who was the lucky winner of one of my giveaway patterns, and so I'm tickled to death that I've heard from, well, I actually got the address from one, and I've heard from a second one just in a comment on the video that they were excited to hear their name, so I'm waiting on their address now. But I will talk to you soon, and hopefully have more stitching to share with you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. It is a little bit later on in the evening on December the 2nd, and I am here to give you a huge update on my cross stitching for the day. WIPGO board number 1 complete. WIPGO board number 2 complete. Isn't that exciting? You know what that means? That means that I was able to hit my goal on my new start Sew Together series, Jeanette Douglas. This is the number 2, pins and needles. It's the final one of the 6 that I am stitching. And today I got the border done, the title, pins and needles, and the motif at the bottom of that side. So now I just have this part to do, which is the bulk of it, but this was enough for 502 stitches, and my goal is 500 stitches or 5 hours. So I made it. And this was fun because I'm working on the ugly sweater competition in my daily 30 group, and because I had, you get to stitch for one of the items you're adding to your sweater, and it can be any kind of sweater, any theme you want. For every 200 stitches you get one. So because I did 502 stitches today, I was able to earn 2. So I stitched for one, about 203 stitches, stopped, stitched for the second one, actually stopped and posted for it too, and then I just went ahead because I was so close. I was at 469 stitches, and I thought I can hit 500 stitches today and be finished completely, a blackout on both boards for WIPGO, completed for 2023. Yay! That's pretty exciting. If I weren't recording this on my phone, I would have a bell ringing because I have a record of a recording of a bell on my phone for our stitching meetups when we have a finish, and I turn it on and we all clap. But anyway, I'm excited. I'm very excited that I've got my WIPGO board finished on December the 2nd. Awesome! That's really quite fun. So I have done a good deal of stitching today. I am very pleased with the progress. I was able to complete 2 letters of both of my acrostics today, the O and the Y in Voyage from Monthly Magazine Challenge, and an S and an E in the 24 Hours of Cross Stitch. And both of those were done, well, 2 of them were done today, 2 were done yesterday, but I've also been able to get 2 more of my ugly sweater things done now. And so one I stitched for scissors. I said I was making a crafty sweater, and the other one that I stitched for was a spool of thread, because they're both on the one that I just stitched for. I had to jot those down. You can't repeat them, so I'm having to keep a list of them. This is how my record keeping looks this month. You know, normally I have a bunch of acrostics and I go across the top with my whips and check so I know which ones to do. But in this month, there's not an acrostic for the daily 30, but there's all of these things to stitch for, and the number of stitches that you have to do, and you know, how many tokens you get for that. And so there are 15 of these sweater elements that we have to get before we can move on to any of the other higher level stitch counts and higher level tokens. So 200 stitches for each of these for 4 tokens. But I just set it up this way because that way I can track my acrostics here, and you can see I've gotten 2 out of each one, and I've gotten 6 of my sweater components so far in the last 2 days. So that's been good stitching. My calls on my bingo have been what started, you know, my stitching on which ones I was stitching on. So one of them, the first day was Halloween Quaker, and then today was Small Gift. And fortunately, I could come up with some items for ugly sweaters on both of those. And that's good. And then today, after I finished stitching on my bingo piece, I did 200 stitches so I could get reindeer as my sweater for my Christmas sweater. Then I decided to go ahead and tackle WIPGO and get started on my pins and needles. So it's started. I did my conversion earlier today, and I think I'm using almost every color that I have in my palette, trying to make them all fit together in a palette. I'm going to leave this on the Q-snap because depending on what gets called tomorrow after I do the first 200 stitches, if I have time, I'll pick that back up and maybe do another motif. and I've decided I may do that every day until I finish it, because I would really like to have that finished by the end of the year. So if I can. Now Sundays are busy, you know, we go to church and that sort of thing, so I may not get as much stitching time in. But I am tickled. WIPGO is complete, and I was very, very happy with the results this year, so I'm really tickled about that. I'll post that in the WIPGO board group, Facebook group, in just a little bit, and celebrate there. But thanks for letting me share my stitching with you. Today my husband and I ran up to Chick-fil-A. It was a kind of a cool day, but not as cold as it had been, but it was a good day for soup. And so I got chicken noodle, and I think he got the chicken tortilla soup. And we sat and visited and talked and enjoyed our soup in this cold weather. And that was kind of a treat. I hadn't expected that. He went for a run this morning and texted me and said, "Are you in the mood for soup?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, that'd be great. I don't have to cook." So it's been a fun day. But I'm going to go down now and see to supper. And then we will probably watch a movie or something together. I'm enjoying the Christmas movies that are out right now. But I will hopefully be back tomorrow after church and after lunch and all that, maybe, and get to stitch a little bit. I'll share it with you if I do. Happy stitching, everybody. Hi everyone, welcome back. It's in the afternoon on Sunday, December the 3rd, and I am here to tell you about my stitching so far today. Well, I got started a little bit later than normal. After church, my husband and I ran out for a quick lunch and then walked at the mall where it was nice and warm. And then came home, and now my husband has taken Coco to the park, and they're going for a nice hike in the woods, and I know she will be exhausted when she gets home. She sleeps for hours after they get back. But it's given me a nice quiet afternoon to stitch, and so my bingo call for today was Royal Games 1. And the reason I'm holding this upside down is because I've finished the stitching on this part, and now I'm stitching the Queen of Spades. So I've got it turned that way because that's how I look at it when I'm stitching. So let's look at what I did today. My bingo calls for 100 stitches. So I just went ahead and continued up past her glove, and I went ahead and completed those two flowers and the little curlicues that come off the flowers. So that is a complete motif. It's finished. The only thing left on her at all is her neck and head and hair. So I think that's awesome that I've made a little bit of progress over there. It was 239 stitches. So I more than met the prompt that I needed for my bingo group. And then I went ahead and decided that I would consider this rose here, this dark purple and black rose, as part of a Halloween sweater, the dark colors and whatnot. And so I was able, because I stitched over 200 stitches, I was able to count that for my 7th of 15 components that I need for my ugly sweater contest for level 1 anyway. So as I can, I will be, utilizing my stitching to help me get those components. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. So I do want to tell you something that I realized today. When I'm stitching on this queen, I flipped my roller frame upside down, and I'm stitching her opposite from how I stitched the Queen of Hearts. So when I turned her upside down, I turned my working copy of the pattern upside down as well. And what I didn't realize at first until today is that when you do that, it turns some of the symbols upside down. So if you've got, the number 2 or a Z or things like that, you can tell what they are. You have to be careful that you don't think your Z's are actually, your 2's are Z's. You have to really look at it the way it was printed. But there's a symbol. Let's see if I can share this with you, what I'm trying to say. There's a symbol on here for a half of a triangle, like a half of a block of a triangle. And it looks to be in the bottom left of your space. But when I turn my pattern upside down, it flips it to the top right space. So I spent a little bit of time today looking for that top right slanted triangle until I realized you've turned this upside down. So if you turn your key upside down, it will match. So I have to do that and be careful. So if you're going to turn your pattern upside down, do remember to turn your key upside down so that your symbols are going to match what they look like. Because you can have a parentheses going the opposite direction, which I have found already. And I marked it thinking it was an error in the pattern, and it wasn't. I just had it upside down. So I felt a little dense for a moment. And then I realized, well, this is the first time I've really stitched upside down, so I'm not gonna beat myself up about that at all. I'm just glad I figured it out. So 239 stitches on my Royal Games 1 today, and I also had used Royal Games in both my acrostics. For my monthly magazine challenge, the acrostic is Voyage, and I had used Royal Games 1 for the G for games. And in my 24 hours of cross stitch, I had used Royal Games 1 for the R in Free Spirited, the first R. So I was able to mark both of those completed, and I went ahead and posted in both of those Facebook groups the completion of those 2 letters. And so with stitching on my one project today, I have met my bingo goal, 2 of my acrostics, and have met a prompt in my daily 30 group. I love that. That's great. So I'm hoping to do that more and more this month, because the monthly challenge in the daily 30 group is quite a lot of stitching, very heavy stitching. And so if I can double dip that way, the more the merrier. I'll like that a lot. Okay, well, that is the stitching for today, but I hope you're having a great Sunday afternoon of rest, relaxation, and for me, that means stitching. So I hope you're getting some stitching in too. I'll talk to you soon. If not later today, at least hopefully tomorrow. Happy stitching, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. This is Dina, and it is December the 4th. It is a Monday, and today I have been stitching. My bingo call originally for today was for my Wally the Walrus, which I had finished and forgotten about that. Didn't change it on my board prior to the month starting. So as soon as I saw the call last night, I sent a message to the group and said, whoops, this one's finished. I'm going to substitute in my most recent start because I want to get some work done on it. And it is my Jeanette Douglas's Sewing Together or Sew Together series. And this one was number 2 in the series. And it's called Pins and Needles. And I'll remind you of what hers looked like. That's very pretty. It has lots of the beautiful reds and almost like a burnt red and pink in it. But, you know, I've done my own conversion on this, and I'm trying to use the same palette of sulky threads that were called for in the first one I did, so that I carry that color theme kind of through. So here's what mine looks like. It's a little bit brighter. So I have the tomato pin cushions at the bottom. I have a variegated Scabiosa, which is the tall pin cushion on a pedestal. And I chose to bring in the blue with the thread up here. Brought in the purple with the flowers because I got to thinking about it. My mom had a wisteria plant in her yard, in our yard, one of our little side yards on the side of the driveway. And that wisteria climbed up into one of the trees. And in the springtime and summertime, that thing would just load up and just be hanging down almost like grapes. And it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. And these reminded me of that, the way they were clumped and hanging down. So I decided to make all of my flowers wisteria. And I went ahead and colored them purple. This is two-tone here. This one didn't call but for one color. So I kept it that way. I put a little tiny bit of pink in there because there's pink in other blocks. And there's a little light blue thread across those tiny spools there. And I turned this gold sunburst maybe into a snowflake just because I didn't have a gold color that I wanted to use. But anyway, there you have it, all seasons. There's the spring, summer, and then I think this beautiful red tomatoey color is autumn, and this is winter. So my stitching, you know, is for all seasons. But this is called Pins and Cushions, and I finished it today. Yay! I'm so excited. So putting it on my bingo board for today and knowing I didn't have anything else that I had to stitch on today, I just kept stitching till I finished it. So guess what? I finished the whole series, y'all. I'm so excited, so I'm going to show it to you. Here's the whole piece. And I do intend to cut these in half, long-wise, this way, and have them framed 3 and 3. And then I can hang them together. I do think the color palette is very spring-like. That's what I was going for. I do think that the colors really look pretty on this sage fabric. It's such a light green. So, I was going to read that one to you. Scissors and thread. I couldn't see it from back, sorry. Ribbons and trims. You can read it, I can't. And then silks and wools. Letters and numbers. Buttons and bows. Pins and needles. Now, I know from what I've been told, because I don't have everyone in this series, I've been told there's 8 or 9, I'm not sure. I have several of them. I know I have 1 and 2, and I think I have numbers 5 or 7, I don't know. But I picked these out at Sassy Jack's. On vacation there one time, my husband said, pick something you want and get it up for I think it was for my birthday. And I picked out these 6 patterns, and I bought sulky thread to do this one. That's how I picked my color palette. I matched the sulky as best I could to this one, the original. And then I matched what I had in my pack of sulky as best I could for this one, and then it just kind of continued. So I hope you like it. It's very spring-like, very colorful, much more colorful than the originals, because I've added some little brighter colors to it. But I think those will make beautiful companion pieces for my stitching room, and I'm looking forward to getting those framed in the coming year. So huge finish, yay! Not just a finish of one, but a finish of the entire series. So I'm really, really pleased. Very productive day today. So that's my stitching for today. I have a Zoom group a little bit later this evening, and I will probably pull out my North Pole Express. I want to get a little work on it and push it closer to a finish and see what happens with that. But I do need to do a little tidying up again because I've got my sulky threads in a little container that I had put them in to keep them all together. And since I started this project last Christmas, my husband gifted me the sulky packs that were there was a set, I think, online that you could get a couple of different ones, and he got me both of them for Christmas. That was my Christmas last year. So I'm going to pull those sets out, and I'm going to put these in with those sets to augment what I have. And I didn't go and get any of those and add them in on this series because I had already established the color palette all the way through. So I didn't go ahead and change anything out, you know, or add anything to it. But I'm happy with it. I'm glad it's completed. I hope you like it. And I will let you get back to what you were doing, and I will tidy up here a little bit and get ready for my Zoom call tonight. Happy stitching, everybody. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome. It is the 5th of December, Tuesday morning, and I'm here to share a finish with you. Pretty exciting. I started working on this piece yesterday because I finished stitching for my bingo prompt, and I decided I would stitch on this piece because I'm in the Daily 30 group working on items for my tacky sweaters, my ugly sweaters, and I knew that this piece would afford me a couple of unique items for my sweater, and they all have to be different. So I grabbed it and pulled it and started stitching on it yesterday. And then my bingo call for today was a WIPGO call, and I finished WIPGO. So I just penciled in a change, whip of choice instead of WIPGO, and I just kept stitching on this. So I've stitched way more than 100 stitches on it, but this is a little freebie back in 2014 from Little House Needleworks called North Pole Express, and I've been working on it a little bit off and on this year and just got serious about it yesterday and finished it. Isn't it precious? I said I was going to count this fabric because it's so tight that I don't believe that it's actually 32 count, and I'll have to do that, but I haven't yet. Anyway, I think it's beautiful. I used all the call for colors, Classic Colorworks. I think they were all Classic Colorworks, and ran out of my English Ivy. I have one strand left, one single strand, not even a 6 strand, one strand. So to make sure I had enough to make all the trees the same color, I pulled out my DMC 3051 and did the coat for the little person driving the sled, holding on to the polar bear there. Anyway, isn't that a cute little small? That looks like a pillow to me. So anyway, delighted, have it finished. Gonna make a post on my Stitch from Stash group and post it in my bingo group. I got 2 items for my ugly sweater on here, and they're pretty obvious: sled and polar bear. I don't know that I'm working on anything else right now that has either of those. So I was happy about that. Glad to have it done. And now I get to just go pick something to stitch on to see what I want to do. Wow, haven't done that in a long time. So I will let you know what I decided on when I come back later, hopefully. My husband and I are going out for lunch today. I think we're going out to a seafood restaurant for lunch and then probably go for a walk. I took Coco for a walk this morning, but it was a short walk. It was a little bit nippy, and once she got all of her business done, she was ready to come home. So it was 9:30 in the morning, so it's kind of early. So it was a little bit chilly. But she will go walking again later this afternoon. So probably for a nice long walk, because my husband doesn't have to be at the church today. The only day this week that he doesn't have to be at the church for the living Christmas tree. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day today. I hope you're getting a lot of stitching done. And I can't wait to come back and share with you whatever it is I decide to do next. Happy stitching, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. It's so good to see you. It is December the 6th. It is a Wednesday. And I am here to tell you a couple of big accomplishments for today. I had a great time today. My friend Juliana came over to stitch with me today. And I told her when she got here, I said, I have a goal today. And my goal is I want to finish a page finish on one of my WIPs. I want to go into 2024 with only the second half of the pattern for me to stitch. So I'll share with you, it is my By the Bay. It's my 13th colony, part 2. There are 3 parts, and this is part 2. And I am stitching this part, and the page break is just right over here. Splits that house. Couple of the last 2 stitches in that house are on the other page, so the page break is just right down the middle there, and that's what I've been working to finish. I had this little corner down here to finish, so I did it. I did it today. So first let me show you what I stitched on today. There we go. I wound up stitching almost the whole island, and as you can tell, I had a hard time stopping. I was color completing, and I just kept going on with that color even on to the next page. And the tree that you see unfinished is actually stitched onto the second page, but the first page break is obvious where it is because I've stopped along the way there in some of the other colors. I made myself stop in the yard so that I just would have time to make my goal for the day. So there is my page break. This is what I've gotten done. I think it's a beautiful piece. And with the middle of the part 2, to me, that tells me I'm in the middle of this piece. So halfway there, isn't that exciting? I would love to be able to finish part 2 and get well into part 3 next year. I don't know that I could finish all of it next year because it's really pretty thick stitching, but I'm definitely going to finish part 2, and that way I'll be ready to start part 3 next year at some point anyway. But as you know, I've been working, as I'm doing my WIPs, I have been working on a daily 30 challenge, and that challenge is called the Ugly Sweater Challenge. Juliana and I were talking about that today because it's the first one of these she's done. This is her first, I think it's her second month in the Daily 30 group. She got in there in November. And so this is the first one of these that she's seen. And we talked about the fact that we're stitching for every 200 stitches in part 1, level 1, you get to add something to your ugly sweater. And that's what you're stitching for, is the components for your ugly sweater. So there were 15 components that you could do for your sweater in level 1 at 200 stitches each. So I today, with the completion of this part, chose to claim the house as my last element in level 1 because I said I'll be home for Christmas and it's the home that you're coming to. So I have 15 components of my sweaters stitched for. They're all different and they've all been posted, and so I am now ready to go to level 2. Level 2 requires 300 stitches for each component of your sweater. You get more tokens for it, but you can only stitch for 5. So I'll be working on that this week, and everything I stitch on, I'll be looking for things that I can add to my ugly sweaters. So that'll be fun. I think that's a fun way to get some stitches, into our projects. But I will tell you, I am thrilled to have my page break done on my 13th colony by the bay. Very happy to have that done. I feel really good about going into 2024 with it where it is. So I think that's fun. My bingo call for today is to stitch on my Stitcher's 12 days. I'm going to get it now and get started on it. It is probably about 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the afternoon, but I only have to put 100 stitches in it for bingo. But it is Stitcher's 13 days, and I will be stitching on the thimbles. So I may go ahead and do 300 stitches in it because it's a big motif and it probably has that many stitches in it. And that could be my first level 2 item for my sweater would be the thimbles. I don't believe I've used a thimble yet. I haven't. So I could do that for my crafty sweater that I'm putting together. So that's fun. It's a fun little challenge. I'm enjoying it. Juliana and I were talking about it today, as I said, because it was her first one to participate in. So I'm going to get busy doing that, and if I get it finished, I will come and share it with you. I didn't share this last night because I started working on it last night, and I didn't get my page finished until today. And so that's a combination of stitching from yesterday afternoon and today. Hope you're having a great day. If you're stitching, I hope you're getting a lot of good stitching done. And if you haven't been able to stitch yet, I hope you get to. Happy stitching, everybody. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome back. It is later on the 6th of December, and I was able to complete my bingo call for the day, which was my Stitcher's 12 Days of Christmas. This is a really cute chart by Sue Hillis, and I'm doing mine like this as a banner. So today I was working on the silver thimbles, 8 silver thimbles. I had started them before and I had gotten the greenery and the little red ribbons stitched. So today I went back in, I back stitched everything, and I stitched 3 of the thimbles and I back stitched them, and I got a total of 302 stitches. I stopped after just over 100 and posted it in my bingo board, and then I decided to keep stitching because if you'll recall, I was working on a crafty sweater and I haven't used a thimble on it. So I went ahead and stitched the remaining stitches I needed in order to qualify for the 300 stitches for the next level. I started level 2 today. And so my item that I'm stitching for on the sweater will be the thimbles. Now to me, and I've looked at the pattern, it is as charted. That little thing on the side looks like a mushroom. I guess it's a thimble at an odd angle or upside down or something, but anyway, it's a weird looking little thing. Each one of them is different, by the way. I think that's interesting that they're not all the same. So that makes it more interesting to stitch. But you can see I got all the back stitching done and the veining and everything. And I did count those 2 stitches for 1 because that's what I normally do. I think most people do that are counting stitches. Count back stitches or straight stitches 2 for 1. So it takes 2 of them to count 1x. And there we go. So that's what I got done today. 302 stitches, met the 2 things, both my bingo and the daily 30 challenge that I'm doing now for the ugly sweaters. So that was my afternoon stitching. I'm still thrilled about my page finish from earlier today, but I think what I'm going to do now, since I've been stitching most of the day, is I'm going to take a break. And I'm going to go down and spend some time with Coco, play with her. My husband is at the dress rehearsal for the Christmas cantata, the living Christmas tree. So he'll be coming in probably about 9 or 9:30, I guess. They started right at 7, and hopefully he'll get home before 10. I don't know. But I think I'm going to go watch a Christmas movie, have a cup of coffee, just chill, just relax. I do want to point out my Christmas earrings today because they are new, and I think they are really cute. My husband got these for me. They're 2 parts, so they dangle and you know, go around each other, but they are blue and white snowmen. So for my blue sweaters that I have for Christmas, I now have something a little more color appropriate. I think it's great. Okay, I'm going to let you get back to what you were doing. I'm going to go have a quiet evening. I'll wait and see what my call is for tomorrow before I decide what I'm stitching tomorrow. All right, I'm going to say good night and happy stitching. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. It is the evening of December 7th, and I am here to share with you my stitching that I did this afternoon. Or I guess most of the day I worked on this. Today's bingo call for me was a whip of choice, and that was fun for me. I was so glad to get to do that. I wanted to get some work on this whip and get it closer to being ready for 2024. And so I pulled out my sampler for All Seasons by the Scarlett House. And I am working over in this block over here. I have done across here. I think I've got the top line. So I'm going straight across the middle like that. And so I had these things stitched, the flowers stitched across the bottom. So today I started on this layer and I stitched this little tree, which I'm calling a Charlie Brown Christmas tree because it looks pretty sparse. And I came over here and stitched this plant and bird, and then I started building the house. And that's important to know because I stitched 636 stitches today. And so 300 of those stitches went to one of the ugly sweater components that I was building, and then the other 330 went to the second one. So on here, I'll have to show you on the picture because I haven't stitched it yet. But on here you can see there's a black bird on top of the house. And so I went back and said I was working on my Halloween sweater and I was stitching that black bird. And then I decided for the second one, I would call this my Charlie Brown Christmas tree. And I stitched for it. So 2 components, and these are now in level 2. And at level 2, you have to stitch 300 stitches instead of 200 stitches. And there are 5 sweater components that you need for level 2. And I have stitched now 3 of them. So awesome, awesome today. Got a lot of work done today, but I am loving that block. I think those colors are delightful, absolutely delightful. So I'm getting close to starting to build the house. I'm doing all the inside first. I've got the bottom row done, and now I'll do the 3 windows at the top next time, and then I can put the roof on it and then just fill in, you know, for the roof and finish that block, which would be awesome. I don't know that I'll get it finished in December because of all the other stitching I've got going on, but who knows? I might. So I'm not going to rule it out quite yet. I was really wondering if I could get enough of it stitched to outline the house so I could just do fill in, because we have a stitching day coming Saturday. And I very well might be able to get that done. And that way I could just fill in Saturday, fill in the house, and, you know, let that be my meetup stitching. So we'll see. My husband is at the church tonight. Tonight is their first performance of their Living Christmas Tree musical. And so I am waiting till tomorrow night to go. I'd like to let them get the first night jitters out of the way. And then I'll go tomorrow night with my husband, and I'll get to watch it tomorrow night. So I'm looking forward to that. Well, I have on some new Christmas earrings today. My husband had bought me 2 little cards of Christmas earrings the other day. And so these are little snowmen, little white snowmen with black hats. And the reason that I thought that was so cute is on my sweater. You probably can't see it, so I'll stand back and let you see it. I have little white snowmen with hats. So I thought they just looked so cute, you know, with this Christmas sweater. And I was really tickled about getting those. So I wanted to share that with you. So here is my sampler for all seasons so far. I think it's beautiful. Just beautiful. I'm enjoying this quite a bit. So I'm glad I got it. And I'm really enjoying it on this Ada too. This is a beautiful fabric, a unique color that they dyed just for this, I think at the time. But anyway, happy at where it is and how far I got today. 636 stitches is a very productive day. I like that a lot. So I'm gonna close it up now. I'm going to go sit on the couch with my little puppy dog. She's been patiently waiting over there for her mama. And we'll go watch a movie together. I'll drink the rest of my hot tea, and we'll have a quiet evening waiting on my hubby to get home. He and I like to watch Survivor on Thursday night. We don't have the channel that it comes on live, so we have to watch it on Thursday. But it actually provides us something to look forward to. So I asked him tonight if he wanted to wait and watch it later in the weekend, since he would be singing tonight. And he said no, he wanted to see it as soon as he got home. So we will do that. Well, I don't know what number has been called yet. It hasn't been posted yet. It's still kind of early for that. So tomorrow will be a surprise for you and me both. I hope you're enjoying your stitching. I hope you're getting some of your holiday plans done, that you're shopping maybe if you've got gifts to buy. I'm hoping to get out and get my husband's Christmas tomorrow. He's told me what he wants and where to find it, and so he wants a tool, and I'll be happy to go get that for him and put that under the tree. Anyway, have a good evening. Looking forward to spending some time with Coco. She's protecting the house. She's heard something outside, so she's barking away at it, and I'll go down and try to see what that is and make sure she's happy, and we'll go from there. Well, enjoy your stitching, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Today is Friday. It's December the 8th, and I'm here to tell you about my stitching for today. My bingo game called for 12 days of stitching again. Stitcher's 12 days of Christmas, sorry. But, you know, I had just worked on this a couple of days ago, and I had started working on the thimbles, and I got the first 2 thimbles done up under that greenery. So today I pulled it back out, and I started working on it again, and I finished the thimbles. I think they're really, really cute. You can see they're all back stitched. They've got little ribbons tying them together, and they're all tied up with the bow and the greenery on top of it. So that completes the 8 silver thimbles. Well, I only needed 100 stitches, as you know, for bingo, but for my ugly sweater, I needed 300. So when I finished all of the stitching and back stitching, and I do count back stitching 2 for 1, 2 back stitches make 1 X for me. I came up with 312 stitches, so that was enough for another ugly sweater component. So since I was stitching right next to the bags of buttons, I looked and I had not used buttons or bags, so I just said bag of buttons was my item that I was stitching for my crafty sweater. So now I've gotten it complete down to that point, back stitching and everything as I go. As I mentioned before, I'm not putting the buttons on until the end, but that means that the next item that I need to work on would be 7 fine new patterns, and that looks like almost like a quilt. 7 fine new patterns. That's the next one that I would start on. But I'm not starting it today. I've had a very brief day for stitching. I took Coco for a walk this morning. I had a talk with my sister this morning. And then my husband and I went out for lunch, and we went to a restaurant that's a little bit of a distance away, but we love it, and we went there for lunch. And then we went to Costco, and then I finally got home to stitch. I've just finished my 312 stitches on this project, and now I've got to go get ready to go to church to see the living Christmas tree. My husband's singing in it this year, and I want to go see it, and I think tonight will be the right night to go. So I am wanting to be ready when he's got to go, and wanted to get my stitching completed. So there you have it. That's it for tonight. I do want to just introduce the last clip on this video, and that is one of Coco. We have lots of neighbors that have pets, and one of our neighbors has a beautiful blue pointer named Tallulah, and we call her Lulu. And normally they walk very briskly through the neighborhood, and we haven't really had a chance for Coco and Tallulah, or Lulu, to meet very well. They've seen each other in the street walking, but they have never played together. So my husband was out playing ball with Coco in the front yard when they came walking by yesterday. And the owner stopped and chatted with Tommy for a minute, and Tommy asked if Lulu could play a little bit with Coco, and Lulu's owner said, if I let her off leash, she'll run away. She runs like crazy, not to get away, she just likes to run. And so my husband went in the garage and got this long, like 30-foot purple leash and gave it to the owner to hold on to, and he connected it to Lulu's collar or harness, whatever she had on, and he said, let's see what they do to meet each other. I'd love for them to meet each other. So she played in the front yard with Coco. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Coco really strongly protects our front yard. She thinks it's our home and that nobody else should be there. So she was a little confused as to why Tallulah was on one of her leashes and was playing in the yard with her daddy. Tommy gave her a ball, was kind of playing ball with her. And so you can tell that Coco is a little confused. She's trying not to be rude. She's trying to be a little friendly, but she's not sure if she should be or not. It is kind of funny. Lulu's trying to play with Coco, and Coco's trying to be very standoffish. It's kind of cute. But my husband took several little clips of them attempting to get to know each other, and they did pretty well. He said that Coco did the Elvis snarl, a couple of times, but he said she was really okay. They did okay together, and they haven't played together since. I don't know if that's going to be anything that my husband can get Lulu's owner to agree to because of her fear of Lulu running. But it was fun to see Coco meeting another dog, and especially in our own yard. That was a big step. So my husband said, "These aren't very good, but I'll give them to you." And I thought, that's fine. I think y'all would enjoy seeing Coco's confusion as to what she should do about this new intruder in her front yard. Anyway, that's the last series that I'll put at the end. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up for this week. It's a little early, but it's already long enough. And I'm trying really hard not to go much over an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off, and then I'll just, if I get to film tomorrow after our stitching meetup, that'll just be the first clip for the next one, if that's okay. So enjoy your weekend. I hope you have a great day of stitching Saturday, tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't know yet what I'm going to take with me. I want to wait and see what's called on my bingo game and see if it's something I can take to the library with me to try to get my 100 stitches on. And if not, I don't know what I want to take with me. So I'll have to give that a little bit of thought. Well, enjoy your stitching tomorrow, and I hope to touch base with you tomorrow evening after all of my day of stitching. We're having our Christmas event, so I hope to have some fun little stories to share with you. Happy stitching, everybody.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Well, not a whole lot of action here. Just Lou. Come here, Tallulah. Come here, girl. Meanwhile, Coco just stands here doing nothing.